Oh, come on. Okay. And we're live. Right now.
Okay.
And we're live on both.
We're live on both.
Yeah, we are.
Is that my cue to start?
That's your cue to start.
Hey, boys and girls. Ron Bass.
We're going live on YouTube and on TikTok,
TikTok
right now.
I like it. I like it. So,
Tune in wherever you get your favorite Ron Bass.
I like it. I like it. So, at any rate, guys, Sir High Personal Development is a channel dedicated to inspire people and help people and motivate people and encourage people, and you get the idea. So we have a lot of topics from every week. We're on a couple days a week, and today we're going to talk about probably not a very fun topic, but an important topic: depression.
Yeah.
And here's the deal: what causes it, and how do we deal with it?
Right.
And you can take really any one of these items that I'm going to list here in a few seconds, and probably spend a whole hour just on one topic, like what are one of the causes? Chemical imbalance.
Absolutely.
And what causes chemical imbalance? You're just born with it.
Can be, or drug use.
Well, that's another issue.
Okay.
We're just going to talk about chemical imbalance right now.
Okay.
From the brain itself, the physiology.
Yeah, it happens.
I remember when my brother was alive, bless his heart.
God bless him.
Was schizophrenic.
Oh.
And I remember his psychiatrist actually pointed out on an x-ray schizophrenia. He said, this is schizophrenia.
Mm-hmm.
And he pointed this out on the x-ray in the brain. So he was real familiar with what part of the brain that was.
Oh.
Now, as far as what causes it, they weren't really that sure. Back in those days, the only way to get people back to normal was to give them shock treatments. They still give shock treatments today, and that was the only.
Do they really? I didn't know that.
My brother would get into these psychotic episodes, and he, just completely out of it, and they would put him shock treatment, and it would bring him right back to normal. It was crazy.
Wow.
But then you had to take medication on top of that. And this is like 30, 40 years ago. Now, today, I think the meds are a lot better, a lot different.
Likely.
But schizophrenia is still a big problem. But, depression kind of goes along with schizophrenia. Not always. They call it paranoia schizophrenia.
Uh-huh.
Paranoia schizophrenia. But that's not really depression. Kind of, sort of. It all kind of relates. There's a lot of they relate to each other, so to speak.
I get it.
But anyway, back to depression. So chemical imbalance. I think it's more of a physiological issue. You're born with that.
Okay.
What else could cause depression? Environment. Like who are you hanging out with?
Huh, yeah.
Who, are they positive? Are they negative? What's going on around you all the time? Like when I was growing up, my father, another great guy, but unfortunately he had an addiction with alcohol, so he was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So my mother was always upset, and my dad was always drinking, and there was a lot of ups and downs and all arounds. And so, bottom line is that depressed me as a little boy,
Sure.
and discouraged me as a little boy, and caused a lot of anger. And growing up, it kind of gave me a bad taste in my mouth for relationships. Probably why I never got married, to be honest.
Could be. Yeah.
So that's a whole other subject for another time. But at any rate, environment can play a huge role in your attitude. And I'm talking about depression, but really you could even go further than that and talk about mood swings. Maybe it's not depression. Like what creates a good attitude? What creates a bad attitude?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think these items that I'm listing have a big effect on attitude.
Okay.
So you got attitude, you got depression. All these things kind of relate to each other.
Got it.
And so environment. Who do you spend time with? The old saying, you become who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
You become what you think about.
Yeah.
If you want something positive, you need to be around positive people. If you want something positive to happen in your life, you need to be putting in positive things into your brain.
Right.
So when you're reading or you're listening, try to put positive things into your brain, not negative things. Okay. Drugs and alcohol. Wow. Well, what happens? It changes the chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
You can be positive or negative about drugs and alcohol, but the reality is it changes the chemistry. And when you change the physiology, the serotonin level changes, and so then that helps to create a problem with depression.
Mm-hmm.
I recently read an article, though, that said that serotonin is not the only reason that causes depression. Now they think that maybe that's overblown. So you got one group of psychiatrists and another group over here opposing each other with what causes depression in the brain.
Sure.
And what to do about it. So then you got the pharmacies, the pharmaceutical companies involved with all the medications. I've talked to a lot of people that say, hey, Meds help me. Other people say, hey, meds make me worse. To me, I think we're going to talk about exercise in a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
Exercise changes
Honestly,
the brain
that's,
chemistry in a positive way. I can tell you from personal experience, Keith, that man, it's a big help.
You know, I
Huge
know,
help.
and you're reaching me at least with that. I'm beginning to realize that that's the only way I'm really going to get my body back is
And look
exercise.
how much weight you've lost.
I've lost a ton.
Every
Now
time
it's
I
time to
see you,
exercise.
like less and less weight.
Yeah, I'm losing about 5
You
pounds
have
a
more
week.
and more better movement.
Yeah.
You're more enthusiastic. You just
Yeah.
because you're accomplishing something.
Well, I'm working on the farm, so that's exercise.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But you said you were going to be swimming. I hope that you're
I
doing
have
that.
been, yeah.
Walking.
Yeah.
I walked 2 miles 1 3/4 miles this morning. I try to walk every morning.
Okay.
If you're outside, you can run, but inside the building, I like to walk. A brisk walk is almost as good as a light run.
I've
Not quite
read
as
that.
good,
Yeah.
but it's in the neighborhood.
Yeah, get the heart rate up and
the chemistry, the brain chemistry is so important, obviously, because that's what controls your moods.
Indeed.
Good mood, bad mood. Good attitude, bad attitude.
Sure.
Okay. So going down the list, drugs and alcohol, man, it just messes everything up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. People can send out, some people say, oh, well, 1 or 2 drinks isn't going to hurt you. Maybe not. But for the guy that's an alcoholic that's got that gene,
yeah,
he starts drinking, what happens?
Oh, it's a nightmare. It's just a tumble down the stairs. Yeah.
You speak from personal experience.
I do, yes.
How bad is it?
Well, my particular drug wasn't alcohol, but a very similar drug. And once you start, stopping is not an option. You go
It's hell
till
to
you
pay.
pass out, or it's hell to pay.
And what happens to your life?
Right in the toilet. No time
Out
at
of
all.
control.
10 years of success is gone in a year.
But you know what I've learned? People don't want to be preached to. So I'm not going to preach
No.
to anybody. I'm just going to explain
Just is
facts,
what it
black
is.
and white.
Yeah.
It's up to you to make that decision.
There
If
you
it's-
go.
If you want to do it, if you don't want to do it, if you want to improve your life, you don't want to improve your life. It's
Right.
it's not my job. All my job is to explain the ups and downs. What's going to happen if you do this? Probably that. What's going to happen if you don't do this? Probably this. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I'm basing all my comments to you on personal experience. I
Sure.
used to have a drug habit. I used to smoke cigarettes. I can relate to these sorts of things, and when I talk to people, I can talk from the heart and from experience, not from out of a textbook.
Right.
Okay, what else affects attitude?
Sure.
Relationships.
Of course.
When they're going good,
Yeah.
everything's rosy.
Yeah.
When they go bad,
Everything stinks.
and how much does that affect a person's attitude?
Completely.
How quick does it take them off their mark?
Yeah.
Okay, but Ron, you don't think relationships are good? Yeah, I think they're important, but you know what? You have to go into them accepting the fact that if they don't work out, you're probably going to tumble. You're probably going to have some big issues.
Yeah.
And even a good relationship can be distracting. So it depends
Oh,
how
yeah.
serious you are about your goals. For my opinion, I think if you're really, really serious about accomplishing something, you probably need to be relationship free at least for a while.
I kind of agree
While
with
you're
that.
on that track.
Unless you're in a relationship that's established and wonderful. And those are kind of rare.
They're very rare.
Yeah.
Look at the divorce rate. Look at
I know.
and I've read articles about even relationships that people aren't married. Very, very high rate of not working where they break up.
Most.
Maybe even worse than divorce rate.
I have one couple in my family married over 20 years.
My parents were married 50 years, but they argued every day.
But it was hateful.
So
yeah,
what's the point?
Well,
Why get married if that's going to be the case?
There's another program.
There's a
Bad
whole other
marriages
part,
and
yeah,
staying
yeah,
in them.
bad-
Yeah.
Staying in them
Yeah.
when you probably should be getting out of them.
Right.
Okay, so here's another reason that people have mood swings and bad attitudes rather. Life by itself. I was telling my friend this morning, my black belt in jiu-jitsu, Luis Rubacava, I said, every single day, you might as well face the fact that you're going to be challenged.
Uh-huh.
You're going to have things come your way when you least expect it. And here's the key. The key is how well can you manage struggle?
Uh-huh.
Because you're going to have it. I don't care if you're rich, you're poor, you're strong, it doesn't matter who you are,
Truth.
what age, what
Yeah.
gender, you're going to have struggles. And so
Oh, yeah.
the key is how well are you going to handle the struggles?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't be naive and think nothing's going to go wrong. No, lots of things are going to go
Plenty
wrong.
is going to
So
go
life's
wrong.
going to get in the way. And guess what it's going to do? It's going to affect your attitude.
Yeah.
One way or the other. And really, it's up to you how you want to respond. You can respond in a negative way or you respond in a positive way.
Yeah.
Personally, I think you should respond in a robust way. Face it head on. Deal with it. Figure it out, solve it, and move on.
Right.
And before you know it, there'll be another challenge coming your way.
Oh, yeah.
That's just life.
Yeah.
So what? And exercise, in my opinion, is the best way to handle life because it helps you physically, mentally, psychologically, chemically. You sleep better, you feel better, your attitude's better, you look better, you have a better attitude about yourself, a better self-image, and it gives you the energy to fight when you have to fight. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
And I don't mean you got to be in the gym to be a bodybuilder. I'm just saying 30 minutes to an hour a day, walking, running, swimming, lifting weights. In my case, jiu-jitsu, any kind of martial art. All of those things, any of those things will help you to cope with life a heck of a lot more.
Well, and you hit a real key thing, 30 minutes a day. Everyone can do that every day. And it does work. I've done it before. I'm doing it again. And I'm barely exercising, but it's improving me.
Well, I can see a big difference in you in the couple months that I've known you. Your enthusiasm is much greater. Your energy level is much higher.
I've lowered my cannabis intake as well.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's strictly medical now. Yeah. But I'm exercising. And that's you, Ron. I mean, you did kind of push me down that path.
Well, I'd like to think I have a little bit of influence over somebody. So.
Yeah.
At any rate, so now let's talk about a little bit about how we're going to deal with all of these issues. Mentorship, very important. You've got to find somebody in your life that you can sink your teeth into, that will listen to you, understand you, encourage you, help you when you get off track to get back on track. I don't know where to tell you to find this person, but they're out there. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a neighbor, maybe you have to hire somebody if you're in a financial position to do it. You need mentorship, maybe even more.
And that applies to old folks too.
Listen,
not just kids.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
In my case, when I was going to school, my school teacher, who was my speech and debate coach, Bob Ballou, man, he was a life changer.
I remember the name.
He was a life changer.
How about that?
He really made a difference. He was my mentor.
Yeah.
He encouraged me. He helped me to have confidence in myself.
Right.
And now all these years later in my jiu-jitsu career, Luis Rubalcaba, my black belt, same thing. He's my mentor. He encourages me. He doesn't let me get away with anything. He doesn't let me make any excuses.
There you
Helps
go.
me to stay on track every single day to accomplish my goals. You have to have mentorship. Some people say, "Oh, I don't need anybody."
Well,
good luck.
Humans need other humans. They just do.
Okay, meds for some people, like if you're manic depressive, which is the up and the down and up and down and up and down, up and down. Maybe sometimes med is going to be important for medication, some kind of medication.
Yeah.
But I would try exercise first. Schizophrenia, you've almost got to have medication because that's psychotic. You're going to hear things. My brother would hear things and see things.
And you can't tell what's real.
You don't know what's real and what isn't real. He thought I was the devil one time and tried to run me down.
Oh, my
Run
goodness.
me over, literally.
Oh, my goodness.
Now think about that.
Yeah.
But in his mind, he really saw that and felt that.
Yeah.
So medication is probably a pretty important thing for some people to help cope with depression, chemical issues in the brain. Sleep. People don't get enough sleep.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very important. You have to rest.
You do.
Particularly as you get older, your recovery time is worse than ever, particularly if you're exercising. You have to get plenty of good rest.
Yeah.
That means uninterrupted rest.
Right.
And then when you get up and you start moving around, man, everything's a lot better.
Yeah.
I speak there again from personal experience.
And I just
if you have a bad
been
night's sleep,
experiencing it too.
good luck.
Yeah.
It's a struggle.
Yeah.
Particularly if you have a lot of responsibilities.
Right? Yeah.
Right or wrong.
Yeah, no, that's right. And you can't even remember what you're supposed to do.
Okay, counseling, I think, is really important for certain people. I used to go to counseling when I was younger. Did that for a number of years.
Okay.
Psychologists, psychiatrists, people that understand how the brain works. It helps you to sort out all the ups and downs and all the issues where you can kind of compartmentalize everything and then figure things out and work. I used to be able to not get on an airplane. And I had to take medication for that. And my psychologist said, no, man, you can learn how to deal with it. You have to hit it head on and struggle with it. And eventually you'll desensitize to it. And you know what?
It worked?
And it worked. And I didn't have to take medication after that.
Wow.
It's still a little uncomfortable for me sometimes to fly because I remember what it felt like.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I was able to overcome it because of that counseling. So at any rate, we can go on and on. I don't want to bore everybody to death today, but I did want to touch base on this subject of depression. Really, it's not just depression; it's mood swings, it's attitude. It's really attitude, because if you think about it, depression creates an attitude. Everything's about attitude. You can either have a good attitude or a bad attitude. Depends on you. Things are going to happen. So
Yeah.
the key is how well are you going to handle it? How well are you going to manage issues?
Right.
And it's up to you, really. You can have a bad attitude or a good attitude when something comes your way that you don't like. My suggestion is keep a positive attitude. You're going to figure out a solution if you don't give up and give in.
There you go.
Keith, any closing thoughts?
Well, nothing in particular jumps out other than I just can't agree more regarding the exercise. It's made a big difference for me. I see how much it's made for you.
Very, very
and that's for everybody from birth to death. You got to move.
Yep. Somebody said, you're going to look really good in your coffin. And I thought to myself, that's an example of somebody basically making an excuse why they're not going to exercise.
There you go.
And here's the deal. I would rather be healthy and fit to the day I died as to be sick through the rest of my life.
You said it,
How
man.
about
That's 100%. And I want to look good in my coffin.
Life.
I don't know about you, but
thank you.
So.
All right, guys. Well, until tomorrow.
Until
the next
tomorrow.
podcast, remember, stay positive.
There you go. All right.